I've done a couple of mods to my bike so far, but one of the best ones has definitely been fitting a pair of Oxford heated grips. These ones in particular are the sport model, and here's my initial review after using them for a couple of weeks. The first thing I noticed when I took them out of the box is how grippy they are. They're definitely much grippier than stock grips, so even in the summer when you're not using the heating element, these are definitely an upgrade from the stock grips on your bike. Unfortunately, I can't comment on how easy they are to fit because I was going to try fitting them myself, but on the day that I planned to do it, the weather was terrible, so I just ran them up to a garage instead. It cost me a decent amount of money, so I'd really recommend trying to fit them yourself if you feel brave enough to. So how do they do as heated grips? Actually, really quite well. These ones have 5 heat settings ranging from 0 to 100%, so you can just go all the way up and then all the way back down to turn them off. You can also press and hold the plus button to go all the way to 100%, or press and hold minus to go all the way to off. If you forget to turn them off and they sense that the engine's off, they'll turn off after about a minute on their own, but mine have been spliced into an ignition wire, so as soon as I turn the engine off, they cut out too. They do take about 5 to 10 minutes to heat up, so if your commute's really short or you only do really short journeys, you might not be riding for long enough to actually feel the benefit from them. What I usually do is whack them up to 100%, and then after about 5 minutes I turn them down to about halfway, because these are really warm. I've got the grips on 75% right now, and that's plenty. When I have them on 100% with my summer gloves on, I can't even hold on to the bars, they're so hot. So I'm sure with winter gloves that'll be really nice and warm, but with summer gloves 75% is plenty, sometimes even 50%. I do find that if I'm stopped in traffic or stopped at traffic lights and I take my hands off the bars, when I put them back on I have lost a lot of the heat, so I'd say try and keep your hands on the bars if you want to retain all of that heat. Otherwise it will probably take maybe 30 seconds or so for them to get back up to temperature. The bracket to mount the controller on the handlebars is usually at a 90-degree angle, but mine has been bent straight so it could be mounted where the mirror is. Depending on your bike, you might want to do the same or just leave it as it is originally. So far I haven't had any problems with the grips heating in an uneven way, like one grip being hotter than the other, or only certain parts of the grip heating up. The heat has been really nice and even, which makes it a very comfortable ride. One downside to these grips in my opinion is how ugly all the wires are, and there's quite a lot of them. If you follow the routing of the original wiring on your bike, you can usually tuck them away quite neatly, but still it's a lot of wires and they look quite chunky, so that's one downside for me. I mentioned at the start that these were the sport version. There's also a touring and an adventure version, and the only difference really is the grip pattern and the length of the grips. These will all fit standard 22mm handlebars, but if you have 1-inch handlebars then you're going to need the cruiser grips. Every bike is a little bit different, so the length of the bars is going to vary, but you can cut the grips down to size. Oxford provide a minimum length that the grips have to be before you start cutting into the heating element, so as long as your bars are at least that length then you should be able to pick any one of these. One common debate is heated grips versus heated gloves. Of course, heated grips are only going to heat the palm of your hand, they're not going to heat the backs like heated gloves will. I haven't found this to be an issue though. I've been riding in single digit temperatures for a couple of weeks and it's been fine. Maybe in really cold weather the backs of your hands might still get cold, but I find just heating the palms has been more than enough. One benefit to the heated grips is that they're a lot cheaper than heated gloves. They cost me £50, I ordered them online. I did have to pay £85 to have them fitted, but of course if you fit them yourself that's not going to be an issue. Whereas heated gloves are probably going to cost you like £200 or so. With heated grips and a set of handguards, you're more than ready to ride in all kinds of weathers. I can even see these being useful in the summer in the early mornings or late evenings, so it's definitely not just for winter. But these grips alone have probably added a month to my riding season, so well worth the money in my opinion. So as you can probably tell, I'm really happy with the grips. They're the usual Oxford quality and usual Oxford value. I would definitely recommend sticking a set of heat grips on your bike if you ride after September or before about March time. Like I said, they will add at least a month to your riding season, which is well worth it in my opinion. Let me know if you guys have also used them or if you use something else entirely to keep your hands warm throughout the winter. Safe riding, and I'll see you in the next one.